Hi, my name is Brian, and I'm a recovery counselor and peer specialist for the First Responders Program here at RCA in Danvers. And I'm also an individual who's gratefully in recovery. I was a firefighter for 35 years, and back in 1995, after 13 years on the job, I had a terrifying incident with a young child. And it wasn't soon after that incident that I started to drink. Fortunately, after time, my job was not compromised, but I had friends on the department. I had a department chaplain and a union leader and a good family who saw to it that I needed some help. And I went to a facility where they actually had a first responders program, and this was in 1995. And because of going through that program, I had 20 years of sobriety. After retirement, I started having some nightmares and flashbacks of terrible things happen to the firefighters that I worked with. I would see them die in fires and be killed under building collapses. And eventually I started seeing this child that had died in my arms 20 years earlier in my visions, in my nightmares, and in my dreams. I was drinking harder and more than I'd ever drank in my entire drinking career. And I finally realized that I needed to get some real help. So I called Recovery Centers of America, and they recommended that I come to Danvers. And so it was getting to be around September, and I decided that my new sobriety date would be September 11th of 2016. Kind of a way for me to remember the 343 firefighters from New York who died 15 years prior to that. I came here to RCA and I went through the detox program where I was treated with respect and care and guidance. And they saw me through the worst of my days and my sickness and my withdrawals. And eventually they recommended that I would go up to the CSS unit, which is a residential portion of the program. I think what helped me most at RCA when I was here for treatment was, first of all, a caring staff and an understanding staff, and staff who actually have been through the process and realize what it takes. They were compassionate, they were empathetic, and they were dedicated to their purpose. You know, they had a purpose to try and help people get into recovery, and that showed in everything they did. From the groups they ran, the talks, the individual talks we had, and the ability to work together as a group with my other patients that I was sharing the unit with. My part, I was in Evolutions, which is people of older age, usually above 40, many times 50. And it's not only that we share the like-mindedness of addiction, but we also share a lot of history as far as how we were raised, how we were brought up, how things were when we went to school, the music we listened to. Those life experiences can't be duplicated just through talk. They have to be brought forth by experience. And being able to share an experience with somebody who understands it, who knows the type of music you're talking about, knows the type of TV shows you're talking about, makes a big difference as far as your comfort level. They could assimilate their own experiences into the experiences I had, and I didn't have to explain them because they already knew what they were. The whole process of walking through these doors is your beginning and your first start towards having lasting recovery. And if you do the things that the staff teaches you and instructs you on and advises you, I think that you're going to find that that's going to be a great basis for your recovery once you leave here, because there's a lot of experience and education that goes behind the staff members that work with you and deal with you and see you on a day-to-day basis, and they can see your ups and downs and they notice them, and they'll make note of them and they'll discuss them with you. And I think that's because they truly care, and I think that's probably the one thing about Recovery Centers of America, and especially here in Danvers, that makes a huge difference, is that the staff genuinely cares about the patients. They're just not a person with an ID number or a name that I'm going to forget. We talk about patients who have left here in the last year or 2 years as people we still remember and people we're still fond of. And if we haven't heard from them, we just are hoping that they're doing the best and that they're succeeding in their road to recovery.